it as Agnes, but I've never heard of A on it myself. But that's a name that was used quite a bit in Germany. Don't hear it much today, and I don't know why, I always felt kind of strange having it because it was not usual, to have any classmates by that name, or any name you'd heard of, like Margaret or Jane or Jean or something else. I never knew any other name I was preferring, but in other words, I had two cousins that had the same situation. We all had both of our grandparents' names, grandmother's names. So mine was Agnes Amelia, and mother's oldest brother, they named her Charlotte Amelia. Well, her other grandmother was Charlotte. And then this one here in New Braunfels was named Emma Amelia. Well, her Plumar grandmother was Emma. And one time grandmother said, and this was at a time when she would get her feelings hurt a little more easily, or she was something a little different after she had a slight stroke. For one thing, like she'd be trying to tell me about somebody, and couldn't get the name, She said, you know who I'm talking about, duh, she'd tell you all kinds of things about them, but she, well, I know, I understand that now too. But anyway, she said nobody had her name for her first name. Well, now we finally have it in the first name, because Carolyn's daughter named her daughter Emily Grace, and we're calling it Emily. Of course, it's the German spelling for Emily, and so I have no problem with her calling it Emily. But I love the fact that she chose that name, and I think it's one of the prettiest we have in the family, Emily Grace. I don't know where she got the Grace, but that's a good name. Need a little more grace in the family.
Can't have enough grace.
No, I tell you. And this is, unfortunately, I got bent sometime. Anyway, this is Grandfather Reisner there, and I'm telling you, my son's hair reminds me so much of these pictures of my grandfather, because he had a lot of hair, and so did I, of course. So I guess I could connect myself to it as well. But that photograph that I have in the other room, I don't think we haven't taken a picture of it, have we? That would be a good, because it is a regular photograph. Well, this is too, I guess, but at any rate, it is of the later years when he's wearing a beard, long beard. And he's a deep-set eyes too, which my son also has. I think so. So I'm thinking my son more nearly resembles him than he does his own father, because his father, Lee, has very brown eyes, and Ernest has eyes more the color of mine, which I don't know what this one has for sure. You really can't tell. Would you hazard a guess as to what color those eyes are?
Sepia.
Yeah. Now this very definitely is my grandmother. See, with the goiter and the way she used to do her hair. Well, I guess this must got to be out at California when she visited out there. They kept in the fact that she lived in California didn't keep them from being in close touch, and different ones of them would go out there. Out here about, I don't know, that I was surprised when our Aunt Julia, that I'm assuming that's Aunt Julia, that when she heard that I married, that she sent me a gift. for our wedding present. Hand-painted piece that she did. Now, this is a pretty good picture of the grandfather.
Grandfather who?
Reisner. That was this. I don't know where this was taken exactly for sure. It's got to be in Austin, because at least I think so. I don't know how he would have had a place anywhere else. I don't know what he was doing there. That's kind of an interesting, puzzling picture.
Sidewalk bending.
Yeah, it's out on the sidewalk. My understanding, because when I told you about this one glass dish down there, they told me that my grandmother gave me that, and well, I don't remember exactly the days she told me or anything, but I do remember that I was told that that glass dish, he was selling had dishes like that in a little candy store in the county courthouse, I thought. I guess past the time he was not able to travel around on his own or whatever. He suffered from asthma a lot, I think. Somebody made a remark you could hear him far off with his breathing. But you know, here back here, this looks like candy jars and things. I don't know. These two words,
Apothecary?
Well, I'm thinking it's also the end of could be the end of bakery. What I have no idea where this was. It's interesting to speculate where that could have been. But the story of his death is kind of grandmother just giving him his breakfast in the room, in the bedroom. Turned around to make up the bed, and he said, "That tasted good, Mama." It sounded like he called her Mama. Well, anyway, this is quotation. This was out of what I read. And she just turned around to make up the bed, and he was gone. So, you know, that's another story about the death of people. I don't know that that's appropriate here, but in my case, I have a number of stories because I don't know anybody. I've told you this before, I think, that I don't know anyone else who's been with people as they were dying or just after they died, as I have. And I don't know why, but whatever. We all have our own experiences, don't we?
True.
That looks like candy jars back there. This could have been a one-time thing, or it could have been something that looked like maybe apples here. Well, where in the world that would have been? I get the impression, I've gotten the impression that he was a congenial fellow from the writings and so on. And from what they say, what his children have said. Now this is my grandmother again with one of her sisters. And here we do have more of a picture of the things that were across the street there on 16th Street. See, this is still that same fence that I was pointing out in that other picture. This is Aunt Selma.
And to the left of her?
This is my grandmother, yes, and this is Aunt Selma Hughes. She was a jolly sort. I remember